Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. You know how much we love diving into all sorts of thought-provoking ideas on this show.
Absolutely.
And today we're tackling something that I think a lot of you will really connect with.
For sure.
This idea of investing in your soul.
It's a phrase we hear sometimes, but what does it actually mean in practice, right?
Right. And that's what we are going to unpack today.
Yeah.
We're basing this whole deep dive on some really fascinating insights from a book called The Camino Within.
And for those who haven't heard of it, it's this book by someone who walked the Camino de Santiago, which is this ancient pilgrimage route.
Yeah, a huge journey both physically and, I guess you could say, spiritually.
Exactly. And what's so cool about this book is the author really gets into how this experience changed their whole perspective on life.
And especially this idea of what it means to invest in your soul.
Yeah, they had this huge realization along the way.
Okay, so let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
So the author starts off by being super honest and upfront, saying that before the Camino, this whole concept of investing in their soul was like totally foreign to them.
Like it wasn't even on their radar.
Exactly. They were so caught up in the day-to-day, just managing everything, work, family, all those demands.
I think a lot of people can relate to that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like when you're just constantly trying to keep all the plates spinning,
Right.
the idea of focusing on your soul can feel kind of like a luxury or something.
Yeah, it's like, where do I even find the time for that?
But then the Camino happens, right, and everything changes.
That's where the real shift begins.
Yeah, the author talks about this feeling of a spark, like something in their soul suddenly came alive.
It's almost like they describe this missing piece falling into place.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because they compare it to the kind of excitement you feel as a kid.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, remember that feeling the night before a field trip or something?
Yes.
So much anticipation and pure joy.
And you're just like buzzing with energy.
Exactly. And it's like the author saying that's what connecting with your soul can feel like.
It's like recapturing that sense of wonder and aliveness.
Okay, so this brings up a big question though, right?
Yeah.
When do we lose that? Like, when does that childlike spark start to fade?
That's a huge question, and it's different for everyone, of course.
Of course.
But I think it's something we all grapple with to some degree.
For sure. And the author points out something really interesting about where we tend to put our energy as adults.
Where we invest our time and resources.
Exactly. Like we're taught to invest in our education.
Of course, going to school, getting those degrees.
Then there's investing in our physical health.
Going to the gym, eating healthy, all that.
And of course, financial investment.
Saving money, buying a house, investing in stocks.
And all those things are important, no doubt.
Absolutely essential for building a stable life.
But the author's point is like, where is the investment in our souls in all of this?
Yes. It's like we focus so much on the external.
The tangible stuff.
But what about nurturing the inner world?
And the author even talks about religion,
As a traditional way people try to connect with their souls.
Going to religious services, engaging in spiritual practices.
Which can be really meaningful for many people.
Absolutely. But they also emphasize that it doesn't have to be limited to formal religion.
It's about having your own direct experiences.
Like connecting with nature, feeling a sense of awe and wonder.
Whether you call that God, the universe, or just something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, it's about experiencing that connection firsthand.
Straight from the source, as the author puts it.
And I think this ties into another really important observation the author makes about modern life.
How it's kind of pulling us away from our natural state.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, think about it. We spend so much time indoors now.
House, office, house, repeat.
Exactly, and we drive everywhere instead of walking.
And so much of our social interaction happens through screens.
It's like we've created this world that's convenient and efficient.
But maybe at the expense of our souls.
Right, and the author even talks about this as a shift from the world of God nature to the world of man.
Like we've become disconnected from our roots in a way.
And it's interesting because they then go on to talk about children.
Yeah, this is where it gets really heartwarming.
I love this part.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because they talk about how kids are naturally so full of wonder.
They're curious. They want to explore everything.
They find joy in the simplest things.
And they connect with each other so easily.
It's like they're intrinsically motivated to learn and grow.
Yeah, it's all so pure and genuine.
And then the author asks this really powerful question.
When and why do we lose that?
Is it just part of growing up?
Or is it something else?
Like, does the world kind of beat that out of us over time?
I think it's probably a combination of factors.
Probably.
But it's a question worth asking ourselves.
Because the author's message is ultimately one of hope.
It's a call to action.
Yeah, they say, watch how children explore the world with wonder. Become that child. Don't let the kid in you die.
It's like they're saying rediscover that spark.
Embrace adventure, keep exploring.
And this leads into another really important point the author makes.
About how we define success.
Yeah, they challenge the traditional markers of success.
The job titles, the trophies, the social status, the wealth.
Especially the obsession with social media metrics.
Oh yeah, the likes, the follows, the comments.
The author calls it a false assessment.
Because it can distract us from what truly matters.
From building a life that feels meaningful to us.
Exactly. And they say true success isn't about external validation.
It's about internal validation.
About being your best in your own eyes.
And that's a huge shift in perspective.
It really is.
It's about aligning your actions with your values.
With your own sense of purpose.
And that's where the real joy comes from.
And speaking of joy, the author talks about this three-pronged approach to investing in your soul.
Growing yourself, helping others, and giving back.
It's like this beautiful cycle.
Where personal growth leads to positive impact on the world.
And that in turn brings a deep sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that our well-being is interconnected.
And the author says something so powerful about this.
Okay.
They say, investing in your soul is the only thing no one can take away from you.
Wow, that's so true.
Right, it's like the ultimate form of security.
Because it's something you carry within you.
No matter what happens in the outside world.
So no matter what challenges you face.
Your soul is your constant companion.
Your source of strength.
And so the final takeaway from this book.
The message the author wants us to remember.
Is this. Don't let that child in you die. Nourish and feed it. Keep the wonder.
It's a reminder to never stop exploring.
To never stop being curious.
To keep that spark of joy alive.
And so as we wrap up this deep dive into the Camino Within,
we invite you to reflect on these ideas.
To consider what wonder you might be overlooking in your own life.
What small joys you can rediscover.
What steps you can take to nurture your own soul.
And remember, you have the power to create a life that feels truly fulfilling.
A life that aligns with your values.
A life where your soul can truly thrive.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
And keep the wonder alive.
Absolutely.